Hello, I'm here today with Tyler Sass. He's a magician and a business expert, especially on marketing. And I'd like to welcome Tyler to the show today. Tyler, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name's Tyler Sass. I'm a member of the Magic Castle, and I do magic for a living and teach magic lessons on the internet. That's my job.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of fun.
It is. It really is.
How'd you get interested in magic in the first place?
Magic is one of those art forms that's a lot like stand-up comedy. It's one of those things where you shouldn't pursue it professionally unless you keep not trying to pursue it, and it drags you back in every time. For me, I've been doing it since I was 8 years old and just never stopped. So it's like this process of reading books and learning and just figuring it out. It's definitely one of those things where it's like a calling for some people. Most people get into it for a little bit, but the people who take it to the professional level, it's typically a very specific kind of person.
Yeah, it is very interesting because a lot of people do magic, like you said, for a hobby.
Yes.
And I think it's the same with stand-up comedian. You know, a lot of people like to be funny with their friends.
Yes.
And it takes a special kind of interest in it to take that next step and
Yes, exactly.
take it from a hobby into a business. And you did that. I've been talking to you for a while. In fact, at the beginning of this SMV4K project, I spoke with you about how to market it. And you gave me some great ideas about, for example, the spouse persona sheet. And even back then, I remember you talking to me about magic and things. And how did you manage to turn that in from a hobby into a business?
Yeah, totally. Well, so my day job has been for, gosh, almost five years now, maybe even 7, doing digital marketing for clients. So I've worked with tons of different small businesses, from lawyers, doctors, accountants, to bigger clients like air purification companies, B2B, building out their entire marketing systems for them using digital marketing techniques, mostly along the lines of organically generated content, sales funnels, and paid traffic as well. Yeah. So if I'm doing this for everybody else, I thought, why not do it for myself? So I actually started by building a lawn care company. And it was the most basic business I could think of, where it was like, all right, let's go out there and just test it out there. And I was able to get that from 0 to about $5,000 a month revenue in about 6 months. And I was like, all right, cool, sweet. I've got the concept down. So then I started doing it for my magic, and that's kind of where I'm at now. Yeah, and it all boils down to similar principles for every business, and you can apply them to every business. The main reason people's businesses don't succeed is because either they aren't marketing at all, they're doing like this weird, like, I'm going to spam my link in random places kind of thing, which isn't, like, they're not doing professional marketing. But the more common thing is that people just don't have a good product. They're trying to sell something that doesn't exist, or there isn't a proof of concept. And it's like, when you think of your idea and you're like, oh yeah, this is going to be the best, no one else is doing this, it's like, that's actually a bad thing. You want at least like 10 other people doing it, see if they have 100,000 subscribers at least, and you're like, all right, cool, this is a market I can jump into. If they aren't, then you want to be careful, because that means that there's probably an invisible pile of bodies of people who have tried that in the past that all failed. So that's, marketers are very free market driven. So that's something to look out for.
Yeah, and that's something I really noticed when I started SMV4K. There are tons of people that are really successful giving out life advice, dating advice, but they're not giving out, I think, the life and dating advice that Western society needs to be strong and to grow. The K-selected pro-marriage, pro-family advice, a lot of it's pickup artistry.
Right.
That's
and
popular.
That's a perfect example. That's exactly what you do. You saw, okay, I see a market that exists. There are people who are functioning in that market and making a living. In fact, not just making a living without even doing a very good job. And you're like, okay, I'm going to go into that industry and I'm going to do it 10 times better. And then if I do that and then promote it well, I will succeed. And that's how marketing works.
Absolutely.
You have to be able to beat your competition. But if you can beat your competition, and in a lot of cases, the bar is set pretty darn low, you will succeed. And it's like, that's why jump into life coaching. Good luck. Like, just life coaching, It's like, all right, your competition's Tim Ferriss, it's Tony Robbins, it's Gary Vaynerchuk, and they're investing what, $2 to $3 million a year into their marketing. All right, have fun. Like,
and
yeah,
why should someone get a life coach when they can just go and buy a self-help book, which they'll read and
exactly,
probably not apply? On the other
exactly.
hand, the pain, because markets are about solving problems, and people
Yep.
have a certain pain, and the pain of not being in a relationship that you want to be in. And I
Hmm.
also help couples to improve their relationships. So those pains are serious. Those are really big
Yeah.
pains, and it's not worth taking the risk that the book you buy is going to be enough alone. I tell people, watch the videos, read the posts, but if you want the real magic, you go and you get the coaching. That's where things really happen.
Yeah.
And that means that I'm able to offer something that solves their problem better than any of the alternatives. And that's why
Hmm.
people come to me. And that's what, with your marketing, is very important, that you're an expert at helping that message get out to as many people as possible.
Exactly. That's the huge one that people underestimate, is distribution. The necessity for distribution is so important, and it can literally make or break a business. It's like, you can have the greatest idea, but if you're distributing to only 20 people, that's not probably going to be successful unless you do it very, very specifically in very rare circumstances where it's like, yeah, it's 20 people, but they're all billionaires and I'm trying to get one of them to buy my product. Like, okay, then maybe but that's probably not your scenario. And for that, it's like, it's a perfect, like, for magic, most people aren't weird, archetypically possessed people that want to become magicians. But most of them are like, I want to learn magic so that I can meet new friends, develop my social circle, so I can have an excuse to go talk to that girl at a bar, so that I can get better at sales and networking. And that's where I
So I
use
can
in my
impress
marketing.
my kids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And educate them too. It's
Yep.
like teaching them how, like, isn't it weird that we don't really know how everything in the world works? Like, there's these parts of our brain that just do these weird things, and we don't know why that happens, but it does, and it's a bizarre thing. And your brain's doing that with all sorts of things. And that's a interesting message. Obviously, you want to distill that down a little bit for kids, but maybe, like, your imagination's more powerful than you think, and you can use that for really powerful things. Um, but there's a whole different, it's a selling the benefits, not just like doing the magic. For me, the benefit is magic. It's like, but that's not most people. Um, and so, yeah, for distribution, the methods that I have found the most useful for myself have been to paid marketing through digital channels, particularly right now. And this, will be probably the case for the next 3 to 6 months. Who knows what will happen with the algorithms? Is video advertising and Facebook lead generation. Those two have been where you can go and drop like $500 a month and generate, geez, I don't know, like probably 100, 200 leads minimum every single month. And it's like clockwork. And that's just from the Facebook. And then from the video aspect, the brand awareness is massive, because you can take that email list that you're building and you can plug it into the video advertising and follow people around on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram telling a story. And that's where I think is such a powerful tool, where you can go up and say, all right, here's my testimonial video number one. Once the person's watched 75% of this video, move them to the next section, which is the second part of this story. And it's a totally different testimonial. And you can just keep going down that path for as long as you want. And you're basically becoming the guy who, like, always shows up and be like, hey, remember that last video where we got this guy and he got the girl's phone number? All right, now this guy, he's coming with me. He's going to go and try and get a client to go to coffee with him. He's going to do a magic trick to do it. Let's go. And then you can go and you just keep going down the path until, it's the cheapest and most powerful way to cultivate a brand out there, other than email marketing itself, which, if you're building an email list, you should be doing that. But yeah, those two, that combination together: Facebook video advertising, Instagram video advertising, YouTube advertising, and Facebook lead generation. And then I use just MailChimp for building the list and sending out the emails. And those tools together, that's what I do for clients. So clients for like an accountant firm, will pay me $1,000 a month. I'll come out there and I'll say, all right, let's build you a Facebook list. And then they're like, all right, I want to do this YouTube thing too. Cool. That's another $1,000, $2,000 a month. We'll do Facebook. We're going to get your leads coming in, and then we'll do the YouTube. And that's literally how I help my clients, is I just go in there and pick channels for them, set them up, and build their list. And
it's interesting you mentioned accounting, because most people,
yes,
they think that this type of marketing is only for companies that are doing, accounting is mostly B2B. I don't know if they're also doing a lot of B2C. But with the B2B, a lot of people don't realize the power of digital marketing for B2B. They only think about it for selling like toothpaste and feminine products and stuff like that. What is interesting to you or different about the B2B selling? And most of us aren't seeing those advertisements because we're not looking for those, and then people don't realize that it's targeted.
Yes, exactly. Well, B2B, it's actually more, I'd say it's even more powerful and more effective than even B2C. Because if you've worked in the B2B space, you know that getting a lead for a B2B can be like literally hundreds of dollars with marketing. It's crazy, depending on what industry you're in. Like we were doing premium HVAC services, or not HVAC, air purification services for companies. So like installing an air purification system for Google so dust doesn't get in their microchips. And the most expensive thing in that process is acquiring the first initial email. And once you have their email, you can send them emails forever, as long as you're not sending annoying emails. And they unsubscribe, obviously. And with this style of marketing, you can acquire those emails for a fraction of the cost. Maybe it's like right now we're running it for builders for real estates. So people who have bought land and are trying to get people who build houses to buy lots in that land to build up a house to then sell that house. Very B2B, very niche market. And if you're able to acquire leads for $20 a piece versus 200, it's awesome. Even if it's 1/5 the quality, it's still 50% more valuable to you because you're able to acquire it for so cheap. And that's where it really factors in with B2B. Is just like, all right, let's go and get you some leads. Let's build up a list. Let's get those seeing your brand and name. And it's similar for yourself. You can imagine, it's like if you own a small business and you're like, all right, which accountant am I going to go with? The one that I Googled, or the one that's been following me around for 3 months, showing me all the people's money he's been saving and building a personal relationship with me and sends me free stuff. And they're like, I'm going to help you kick the IRS's butt. Dude, let's get out there. This guy just saved him 10 grand, 10 freaking grand. Do you want to get saved 10 grand? You better come over here. It's like, of course I want to go with that guy. That guy looks crazy. He's funny. He's going to make a video about me. I want to know that.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people, if you don't have a business, you're not getting those ads, so you don't realize how powerful they are. But even if you have a business, most people that I know, I do business. I started with business coaching, and I still do business coaching as well for some select clients. And a lot of businesses, or most businesses that I know that were failing due to a lack of marketing, which led to a lack of sales. So they'd say, well, I could sell, but I don't have any leads.
Yep.
And if they get leads, they sold. Like a lot of people sold pretty high on their leads. They'd almost sell to everyone that came to them, but they just didn't get any leads, and they were completely dependent on luck to bring them leads, luck and word of mouth. And word of mouth is good, except that people nowadays, they are almost afraid to tell other people about a service, because if it goes badly, they don't want to be held responsible.
And here in LA, man, it's like non-existent. That doesn't happen anymore. It's like nobody talks to anybody. It's a pretty, like literally I've grown up in an ecosystem where the idea of referral and word of mouth doesn't even like registered for me. Like our lawn care company, I'd say like maybe 2 clients total have ever come from that process, while every client we've gotten has been through our Facebook, our paid, our Instagram. And I'm sure that it's occurring on some level, but it's like, you cannot grow a business without a scalable system that's got metrics and data analytics. Like you got to treat your referrals, at least here in LA, maybe it's different in other places, but you have to treat it like an extra. That's a cherry on top. You better be making a profit on your ad revenue, so that where you're putting in $10, you know the lifetime value of your client. Okay, I can divide that by the number of emails I have. So if I make $1,000 per client and I get one out of 100 to sign up, sweet. All right, my average email is worth $10 to me. If I can get emails for $10 or less, I'll make a profit. You got to literally have it dialed down to those numbers. And then you can go out and just buy them. You just go out and be like, all right, $10 is the number. And obviously, your number is going to be totally different. You're like, all right, if I can find people who can get me leads for less than $10, send them my way. Get them as many as you can, and that's my price. And you can do that, and make a system, and you can scale it as big as you want to do that. And like for me, that's what I'm doing.
And I think it's important too. Like there are scalable products
Mm-hmm.
and there are non-scalable products, and no matter
Correct.
what you're doing, you should have a mix.
Yes.
We can look at a company as large as Microsoft, so they have a mix. They can scale up their software for their Windows, selling Windows or selling Office suites. They can scale that up basically easily. It's just downloads.
Mm-hmm.
It's just subscriptions to a service. They can scale that very rapidly. Then they also have custom development as well.
Yes.
And that allows them to have it's not so easily scalable.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't double the size of their team in a year. It would take them 5 years, probably double the size of their team. Right. But they are offering an extremely high value, high cost service there. And so you have that balance. And most small companies, they offer one or the other. They either have something that's easily scalable, or they have something like a lot of what I do is not easily scalable. I'm only one person. I can only do so much coaching. And exactly. So for me, I'm trying to figure out how to do a mix of that. And that's, I think, consulting with a marketing expert, you have ideas what you might want for the mix of it, but you talk to them and say, these are my ideas for the mix. And the consulting expert will say, you know what, this product and this probably has legs. Try that first, give you some ideas. The reason you hire experts is so you don't waste a lot of time trying to do things that the experts already tried to do 5 years ago and found out don't work. The expert and all of his friends tried it and they all know it doesn't work. And
exactly.
A lot of what we would think would work doesn't work in practice. And the special way that digital marketing works in the background. And like you said, what you're talking about might work for 3 more months. And then
the video advertising. So the principles will always remain the same. And that's the core, is if you don't understand the core principles of the marketing and understand the free market of the internet in the world, you will, and it's not, but it's a useful analogy. If you are able to learn those core principles, you'll be able to see through the garbage, because there will always be marketers saying, I've got $30 trillion in 5 minutes through my iPhone while I was asleep, and you should find out my magical system. It's like, no, you shouldn't, because it's like, all right, so if you have a magic system that anyone can apply that requires no skill and you can get it in 30 days, everyone would do it. And then that idea wouldn't work anymore because the price would regulate in the market and then no one would make any money. That's how it works. If you aren't paying a massive cost that's separating you from everyone else, then everyone else would be doing it and it would fail. So it's looking for yourself in those markets where it's like, how am I doing something that is massively difficult? Like for myself, it's pretty straightforward. It's like, okay, if I have, 18 years of experience doing magic, everyone else needs to catch up. Basically, it's like, that's a big barrier to entry between me and other people just trying to jump into the market.
And they'd have to combine your ability, or at least have 2 people that combine it, your ability for marketing and your understanding of the product as well.
Exactly. So there's two approaches you can take. I prefer the one, I think Scott Adam popularized it, but it's a systems concept of talent stacking. So it's like, if you can't be the top 1% of what you're doing, you can't compete with Tony Robbins in the life coaching industry. Go and take 10 skills that are all valuable and get to the 10% of those. So you might not be the greatest life coach, but you might be the top 10% of life coaches and video editors and podcasting software experts and social media marketing and online marketing and YouTube marketing. And you just keep stacking on skills until your 10%, which isn't that hard to get into. You can usually get into the top 10% of any skill within a few years, even 6 months, depending on what the skill is. And with dedicated practice, of course, and experts. And if you do that, you can be just as valuable as someone who's in the top 1% of skill sets. And, there's a case to be made that most people who have been successful have been utilizing talent stacks rather than being the rare chosen individual that was just, I sat down and that's my thing. And it's a risky strategy too, because if your thing is fixing horse buggies and the market comes along, you're in trouble. So it's like having a variety of skills can actually be very valuable. A lot of ways, like a stock market as well, of talent. And you got to choose how you're investing your time.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, it's the combination. You get a kind of synergy between different skills, which makes it more valuable than if any of those skills were individual. And I think even when you're constructing a company, you have people filling each of those niches. I usually tell people come to me often, I want to make a company, or I have a company and it's having some trouble and I want to know how to be more productive and profitable. And we talk about making sure all of the niches within the company, there's some basic ones. If you don't have anyone in charge of bringing in new business, and that's all they do, they don't do anything else, you're going to run out of clients. Then you have no money, and then you don't have a business. A business with no money is not a business. It doesn't exist anymore. And so that focus on bringing in new clients, and you need people, some people will be deeply focused on the quality of the product. And there will be other people focused on making sure you don't run out of money trying to make it perfect and instead sell it. And so you need these people to balance each other out.
That's advice that I myself give a lot, and I need to learn to take it. It's something that's, if you're an entrepreneur by nature, if that's in your blood, it's one of the hardest things and most important things to learn to do is if you can find someone who can do it. And this isn't actually accurate. The people are more successful and gifted at what you're trying to hire them for most of the time, but you're not willing to accept it. So if you want a useful lie, a useful lie is if you can find someone who can do it 80% of what you think you could do that job at, hire them and do it. It's worth it. Because in reality, you're probably going to do it at about 40%. And if that person's dedicated to it, they're going to be doing it at 100%. And it's very difficult for an entrepreneurial mindset to think, I will hire someone else to handle that for me. That's just whatever is in our head. It's like, no one's going to take care of it as much as I am. No one cares as much as I do. And that's probably true. But if you're paying the person well or giving them a good compensation package, they're probably working pretty hard for that paycheck too. So,
and I think there's also some fear. There's some fear because if you have a large company, if you are Steve Jobs or Bill, well, you can't be Steve Jobs anymore, but if you were someone like Steve Jobs, he hires people all the time.
Too much fruit.
If you're hiring people every day, firing people, evaluating people, then the thought of hiring someone isn't very fear-inducing because you're like, I know I got to do it. This is part of life. It's like eating. You just, I can tell rotten food from good food. A lot of people with small businesses, they're not capable of discerning if the potential employee is a good match for the company, if they're going to be honest, if they really have the skills they need. And again, that's a place where it's sometimes worthwhile to get an expert involved in that. And even if the expert only helps you prep for job interviews, okay, you want to fill that position. Okay, this is what the things you're going to be looking for. This is how to test them. I've done this with people before. I brought in various. We used to use Lego. They would build with the Lego, and we would give them tasks to build with Lego, and we'd see how they approach that task, how they thought about work. Some people would spend a lot of time looking at the pieces and thinking. Okay, they'd think and think and think, and then they would start to build something. And they knew if they had exactly 1 minute to build it, they'd spend about 45 seconds thinking and 15 seconds building. Great. If you've got a project where planning's important, that's the person. You have other people that literally just start sticking bricks together and then adjust as it goes. Well, if you got a project where there needs to be some instant results, hire them for that. And so you can help to see how they think about work. And because you can have two different salesmen with very different thoughts about how sales should be accomplished.
Yep.
And the salesman who sells luxury goods to rich people is not the guy who sells used cars on a low budget car lot. Their approach to sales is different.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, that's totally it. Is the millennial approach when I pull out my iPhone and look up a YouTube video on how to do it? Is that?
Yeah. Yeah. If it can't be Googled, it doesn't exist.
Yeah. You're just like, all right, how to make a cool Lego thing. Boom. All right, let's get started.
I'm always shocked when someone has a business and I go and look it up online and I can't find anything about their business. I don't even find their name online. Like, how do you not have your name online nowadays?
Yeah.
And you can't find anything about them. Now, if their clients are all over the age of about 50, that's not a big deal. But anybody under that age, it's approaching the point where the principal wealth is concentrated, you can't sell. You have to have an online presence at minimum as a way for people to verify you exist.
Exactly. And for me, like, I love having it. It's the ultimate sales tool where I go to Disneyland, do some magic tricks, always get the question, how did you do it? Oh, you want to know? Go to askawizardmagic.com, go to the lesson section. You get 3 for free right now. You can check it out, learn how to do some tricks. And it's like, boom, it's the ultimate marketing tool. It's like they're right there. And then once they're there, I've got them targeted on my website. Then they're going to see me on Facebook. Then they're going to see me on YouTube. Then they're going to see me on Instagram. And it's like getting that 15 to 20 touches is like pennies on the dollar. It's just a no-brainer. It's really a powerful tool. The most important, obviously, getting the email. Email is the most valuable tool on the internet because the retargeting list and the ability to send messages for essentially free. It's like 0.001 penny or something like that. I don't know what it is. Very cheap. And that's what it comes down to, is just building a relationship with those people. And most people don't, like, you hear the word build relationship, it's kind of like a buzzword that relationship marketing guru people try to sell. What that really means is just send people stuff that you would pay money for. So it's like, would you pay $1 for what you're about to send them in the email? If the answer is yes, then send it. If you wouldn't pay for it, then don't send it. And try and make that $1 of value $10, and then try to make it $20 and make it as big as you can to the point where it's still scalable. So you want to have frequency and value. It's not one or the other. But if you have to sacrifice one for the other, you sacrifice frequency for value. So if you're going to go out and put out 1 email a month, then it better be a really freaking valuable email. But you don't have to do a $100 value email if you can do 4 weekly $25 value ones. It just, as a case in point. And that's why frequency is so important. It's easy to make a dollar quality Instagram post. It's not so easy to make a $100 value Instagram post. So you have to figure out what medium you're using and what value you're putting out there to people, and make sure it's stuff that people are willing to pay money for. For me, magic is pretty straightforward. It's like, learn how to do a cool trick. What can I do with that cool trick? You can do X, Y, Z. Awesome. I want to learn how to move paper with my head. Sweet. I'll go to the bar and do it. You did it. Sweet. Awesome. I'll give you $5 to learn how to move a piece of paper with my mind. And so then I send that to them. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm trying to get the value that I've sent them about 10 times higher than what I'm asking them for. So once I've delivered $100 of value, I'm happy to ask for a $10 product in return. And that's the mathematic and logic, if you will, of quote unquote relationship building.
Yeah. And I think it's important to mention too, that to send people value, to create things of value, it costs money. So it's either going to cost your time, which is money, or you're going to have to hire someone to make it for you. And unless you're an expert at it, like I've been creating a lot of value and not doing a good job of getting it out to people. And I need to change that in the near future. And part of that is that I wanted to make sure I had a catalog of value to offer. And I wasn't sure what actually would work. and I see what
Right.
works and what doesn't. And to get that out there, though, that costs money. You're going to have to spend money,
Yep.
spend money to make money. It sounds like a cliche, but it's true.
Well,
And
it totally is. And that's also a huge thing that stops most businesses from ever starting is they're like, I'm going to go and grow it organically. And you're like, okay, so you're going to go grow it organically. So you're going to spend 6 months of your life rather than pay $500 now and see if the idea is garbage. Because 1 in 11 chance, you have a 1 in 11 chance of success with your business. So don't you want to find that out in a month rather than in a year or 2 years, which most small businesses that buy like commercial real estate have to wait for? It's like literally a 2-year buffer to find out your 1 in 11 chance is not the success that you think it is. And or you could drop $500 now, throw up a landing page, and that'll cost you like maybe $20 to have designed. You could go on WordPress, get a Devi, just a super simple thing. Pay $500, blast some ads at it, say, hey, sign up to this offer. You'll get special access to a limited time offer. It's usually $300. We'll sell it to you for $50 if you sign up now. Boom. Hey, I got 25 responses, and maybe this is an idea I should pursue. Hey, I spent $500. I got 2 people who signed up. Maybe this isn't the best offer. Let's go try something else. And depending on the amount of income you have, you could test a new business idea 1 a week doing that model easily. And it's totally feasible because you just have to hit 1,000 clicks. That's the metric you're shooting for. It's marketers are shooting for 1,000 clicks, 1,000 session durations, not impressions, but people on your website. And that is where you can apply the law of big numbers, where you can say, okay, if I put in 1,000 people who showed up and I'm doing my target demographic, I can use that as a fuzzy estimate for what will be like when I have 100,000 clicks. And that's your metrics. It's like, all right, 1,000 people showed up. How many of them signed up for my lessons? Okay, 3%. That's a huge success. 3% sales conversion rate, massive success. 2% is phenomenal. 1% is about what most successful companies have. Most companies operate at sub 1% levels. So like top 1% of companies are in the 2% sales conversion rate. The great companies are like top 20% are in the 1%. Everybody else is below 1%. It's and there's like a 0.001% that are in the crazy out there world. But those people, in most cases, it's because you're talking about like 100-person list. Half of them are friends and family. And it's like, and you're selling grandma's cookies. And it's like, well, of course everyone buys grandma's cookies. Of course we have a 30% sales conversion rate. Who wouldn't buy grandma's cookies? And
yeah, you gotta cut the edges off the graph,
exactly.
off the
And
milk.
then there's crazy companies that just use witchcraft to summon spells or summon sales, apparently. But like
it's called buying lobbyists.
yeah, exactly, right.
Which is pretty much witchcraft. So what's your top advice for someone that wants to start a new company? I guess that could pretty much be is to go and test it the cheap and efficient way, which is through marketing.
Yes. So what I would recommend if I was saying, all right, if I want to start a business, first off, I'd say, have you ever run a business before? That would be my first question. If you haven't run an actual business for yourself before, go open a farmer's market stand and look at your competition. And you're going to learn everything about starting a business from opening a farmer's market stand. So you're going to walk in, you're going to probably try and sell your cool little beads, and they're going to fail. And you're going to wonder, why did my beads fail? And then you look around like, wow, everyone else is selling delicious, unhealthy foods. Huh. Okay. So, this guy's selling tamales. This guy's selling churros. This guy's selling donuts. And they're all here, and they've been here for years. I wonder why they've been here for so long. And then you're going to think, all right, you know what? I'm going to sell some snow cones myself. And then you go and set up a snow cone stand, because there isn't a snow cone stand here, but it is an unhealthy snack that doesn't cost much to make. And you're going to go through this entire business process of, what is my competition? What are people actually buying? What is the public responding to positively? What has lasted the test of time in this area? And then you figure out your whole math equations of How much does the stand cost? How much does my product cost? What is the accounting on this? How much profit can I make per sale? What is it meant to expect from 200 people foot traffic? How do I even know what the foot traffic is going to be like? Are certain days different? And you'll learn everything you need from the top down on how to start a business. Once you've done that for about 2 years, then I'd recommend going and trying to start your passion projects. And from there, the passion projects that I'd recommend is go up and micro test ideas. So it's a 2-phase process. So first, you have the landing page where you want to build your list. So get a super simple landing page. I use Lead Pages to build mine. It's a paid software, but it works pretty well. And then Facebook or whatever the cheapest source of traffic is for where your market hangs out the most. So if they hang out on Instagram, do Instagram. If they hang out on Twitter, do it on Twitter. If they do it on Pinterest, you get the idea. You buy ads there and you're shooting for 1,000 clicks to your landing page. Once you've built your list, that email list, you're shooting for a 20% opt-in rate. Now, opt-in is different from a sales conversion. Opt-in means they just give you your email and they aren't purchasing anything with money. 20% is a good metric to shoot for. If you're hitting 20%, that's a solid indicator of interest. Then from there, make sure that the emails that you're sending, they're responding to. This is going to sound really sad because 15 years ago, it was like 80% open rates and 10% click-through rates was incredible. Nowadays, that metric is at a beautiful 20% open rate, and a 5% click-through rate is considered a good response from a list. It's
Yeah, I get messages from people that marketing messages that I really like their content, and I only open a few of their emails that I get.
Yeah.
I don't open them that often, just because
Yeah.
I don't have time, and
Yep.
also
Yeah.
sometimes what they're showing me is something I already understand very well. I don't need to understand it better, or somehow it's not exactly what I want. And I have a rule that if I don't open an email within a week, I just delete it.
Yep. Yep. That's a good rule, actually.
Yeah.
That'll clean up your inbox really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and so that's phase one is you've built up a list of your target market that you're interested in marketing to. Now, if you want a really good tip, make sure that all of your ideas revolve around the same target market. That way you can keep reusing the same list over and over again. So your future ideas will actually be a lot cheaper. So for me, if when I'm selling my magic lessons, it's not a very positive response, that's fine. I just send out an email once I'm like, all right, I got the metrics in, the magic lessons that I have set up currently is not working. I can go out and say, hey, quick question. If I could make your dream product for you, what would you want? And now, boom, I've got 200 responses back. Woo, all right, I'd love to see this, cool. Let's take these ideas and make the product. And so you can use the same list for future projects. You don't have to do that, but it's cheaper to do it that way. And from there, your phase two is you want to get 3 sales. That's it. You only need 3 sales from your list of 1,000 clicks that you got that is $30 or more. And if you don't have a product that is $30 or more, then create a premium one-time special offer that's $30 or more that revolves around kind of what you're going to sell. And if that's like, I want to sell a digital product for $1, okay, you'll get the digital product for $1, plus I will get on a one-on-one Google Hangout with you for an hour, and it's $30. It's usually $300. I'm doing it for $30. The reason you want 30 is it's like that magic number where it's like, if your friend walked up to you and was like, hey, can I get $5? You're like, yeah, sure, here's $5. But when he's like, hey man, can you give me $30? You're like, what for? It's like, I just need $30, man. And it's like, you would give it to him, but you're like, all right, like I'm being bought into something here. This is like, I'm going to question you a little bit more. So it's just the right amount of money to where someone is like, what's this money for? Like if I ask you for $5, you're probably not going to ask me what the $5 is for. You might ask for it, but it's like $30. You're like, okay. Well, what are we buying here? You're not buying cigarettes, are you? Right? No? Okay, cool. So that's a good number to shoot for. And then 3 sales is a good metric to shoot for. the basic math of it boils down to, if you have 1,000 clicks, you get 20% opt-in rate, you get 200 emails ish. And then from there, you're going to get a 20% open rate. Then you're going to get 5% click-through rate from there. That's over the course of a month. You should have 3 sales. It's a good metric to shoot for. And that can include friends and family if you want to. It doesn't have to. It's just a simple metric to say, it's more or less an imaginary number, but it's a number that's just like, if I hit this, keep going with the idea. If I don't hit this, don't keep going with the idea. And it's that simple.
Yeah, you gotta have some pass fail. This is something a lot of people don't. I mean, you should have this in relationships too. You should have this in everything in life. There's a pass fail mark. You know, if someone doesn't treat you at a minimum level of respect, then you say, you know, sorry, that relationship's over. If your business isn't after a certain period of time at a minimum level of success, you either drastically change your tactics, or maybe you shouldn't be running that business. And a lot of entrepreneurs, they just don't quit.
Yeah.
Because we live in a society where quitting is bad, quitting is wrong. And I think we need to change that over to waste is wrong. Wasting your time, wasting your resources, that's actually a bigger problem than quitting.
And a lot of entrepreneurs, the mindset and usually the childhood that they're raised in leads them to that of a failure in your business is a failure as a person. Yeah. I'm going to prove them wrong. I'm going to show them I'm right. And I'm going to show everybody that my dream was going to happen. It's like, those are really, really bad ideas to jump into a competitive arena with. Like I know it's hyped, especially here in virtually all of our media distribution, but it is not effective as a strategy. It's like, if you want a perfect example of that, go watch esports. Esports is like, you can go and have the emotional story and they can build it up to try and get you to bond with the character. That's not happening during the game. The game is, I'm doing 150 things a minute and the other person's doing 150 things a minute. And I need to make sure that my 150 things that I'm doing a minute are managed perfectly in a system so that I can focus on doing them in such a way that is more effective than that other person. And you can watch them go together. And that's a lot like what business is. Business, it's like, I can get emotionally invested. And if I'm emotionally invested, that's a weakness. Because if I'm not willing to sell off or change the concept of a business because of a feeling, you're in deep trouble. It's like, yeah, but I really want digital online magic lessons through a subscription model to work. Well, okay, but no one is buying them. You're like, ooh, okay. Well, have you tried asking them what they do want to buy? Maybe what they want is a one-time fee of $100 to sit down and chat with you for 3 hours. Is that something that you could offer? Maybe it is. If I haven't asked them, then I don't know. For me right now, it's like, all right, cool. Lessons are working. We're getting the list. It's sending out the emails. People are responding. Nice. And so I'm going to keep going with that until it doesn't work. And it's very important to just have systems. It's in marketing.
Well, that's listening to the market too. Listening to the market. Sure. I've consulted with people and I said, you know, I think that the product you're selling, by what you're telling me, the market loves your product. They just don't want to pay for it. And I said that, like, they'd love it for free. They don't want to pay for it, or they don't want to pay enough for the product to be profitable and sustainable.
Yes.
And the answer I get back every time is they just don't realize the value of it. The client is wrong. And it's like, the client might be wrong in that this thing brings them more value than what you would charge. But if you can't convince them of that, and you're not going to, if there's that many people disagreeing with you, you're not going to convince them all, then it's not a viable product. It's not a viable business method. You need to change it. And
exactly.
I've had a lot of clients, all I've done with them is help them to shift from selling to the general public to selling to elites. So they could triple the cost of what they were selling. The same product, triple the price, and now it was a profitable product. And it was you know, most people don't realize that average people do not want perfect products. Average people want products that are more or less 80% okay. They're okay with 80%.
Yep.
And they're not going to pay the massive premium to get the other 20%,
Yep.
because that might be triple the cost. But there is a group of people who will pay that much.
There is. And I would be hesitant to, because that's a common, that is a common reference point for like Tim Ferriss and business marketing gurus, kind of people in general. And that is true. They do exist. There is a premium market for a premium price. You have to be careful though of just building a business around only those clients, because that pool is small, and the more that you niche down, the more that pool gets smaller. So if there's only 100,000 people in market for your product in the United States, and then you're niching that down to your city, and then you're niching it down to the top 1%, that might be 5 guys, and they probably already have an accountant. And you're like, uh-oh, all right, now we got a problem. And so it's important to factor that in as well. I always tell people, don't be the highest price, don't be the lowest price, unless you can justify it. So it's like, let's see, what would be a good example? Comedians are easier to do than magicians. But David Blaine, all right. David Blaine can go and charge $50,000 for a private show at a Hollywood gig. I can't charge $50,000 for a private show at a Hollywood gig because I'm not David Blaine. I haven't been on TV. I haven't had multiple TV specials. I don't have millions of dollars of publicity behind me. Like, so where do I price myself? I go not the highest, which the highest for someone that isn't famous is about 10 grand. I charge at 5,000. And if I have a smaller event, I do 1,500 rather than 3,000. But I'm also not doing the low price end. I'm not doing $500 shows, and I'm not doing 1,000 when I should be charging 5,000. So that's how I do it in my area. And you have to figure out what your price is and what value you have to offer. And a lot of people have trouble with pricing. That's a very difficult thing for them. I say, go take the people that look like they're about what you're doing. Take all of their prices together, add them together, get an average, just go with that, and then work from there. If you get, and no matter what number you put, you're going to get the same response, which is 10% of people are going to just buy it right out the bat. About 80% are going to give pushback calls, emails, and you're going to have to go through this process. Another 10% are going to say it's too high, no matter what your price is. So you could go up and say, my product's $5. You're going to get that same response as if you say my product's $500. Doesn't change at all. You'll get less people for 500.
Anything more than free is too much for some people.
Exactly. And it doesn't matter what you're like. The lawn care. We used to charge $35 a service for a week. $35 a week. 10% across the board would call up. That's way too much money. We now charge 45%. That's way too much money, no matter what. It doesn't matter what the price is. It's the exact same percentage of people that will do that. They just are, I don't get it. I think they're just looking to complain. But yeah, and for the magic lessons, for me, like what you're talking about, it's all built around kind of the concept you were saying with scalability. So like, magic tricks, who's going to pay for magic tricks when you can go on YouTube and learn a magic trick? Not very many people. And that's why I built my business the way I do. I don't teach magic tricks. When you sign up for my lessons, you get access to a library that teaches you tutorials on how to do tricks, but that's not the product you're purchasing. What you're purchasing is to learn how to perform magic. And that's something that people do want to learn how to do, because you can just go and learn tricks, but most people don't actually present those tricks for real people because they're terrified of it. It's the same idea of like, you can go learn a joke, but do you get in front of a mic? Probably not. And so that's what I'm really teaching the people to do, is take the tricks that they're able to learn, point them in the right direction. Hey, you want to learn a really great guy that knows how to teach that kind of trick? Go check out Jay Sankey, go check out Daniel Garcia. I'm acting as a point of reference for them. But I'm getting them to develop their story, develop their character, develop the presentation, and motivating them to go out there and say, and it doesn't have to be about making money, though that is an angle with magic. You can do magic at a profit, and that's a very rare thing you can do for hobbies, to be able to make your money back on what you spend, which is really fun. And it's the ultimate hobby for people because it doesn't have a physical demand. So if you start doing magic, you can literally do that till the day you die, and you can always be getting better. There's no physical limitations to that. Like, Di Vernon was at the Magic Castle until he passed away, and he's the greatest card worker who ever lived. And that was his thing. And that's what I'm trying to sell to people on, is more the concept of, here is the reason why you should do magic. It's because learning tricks isn't useful. It's like, well, what is the value of knowing how a 37th way to make a card change?
It's like learning to play notes on the guitar as opposed to learning to actually play music.
Exactly. And it's like, no, the reason you learn magic is because now when you go out and you go to the mall and you see a group of people that you would like to be friends with, you have an excuse. You can walk up and be like, I know this is like awkward. I'm a professional interrupter. Nice to meet you. And I'm joking. All right, let's. I wanted to show you something kind of cool. Would you mind if I did? My friend's gonna record it. That's a perfect set. That is the ultimate, because that's a really, especially in today's culture, there's a huge wall set up between you and the other groups, and magic allows you a perfect platform for it. Well, why is this random dude walking up and talking to us? Oh, well, he's got a camera and a deck of cards. Okay, maybe he's a magician. Okay, oh, he's going to show us something weird. All right, cool. Yeah, I'd love to see a magic trick. And it's like, boom, you've broken the ice. Now you can start a conversation. So it doesn't have to be about becoming a professional magician. It doesn't have to be about taking it very seriously. It could literally be like, I know a few cool tricks to start conversations, to make sales, to network, to get my business card in other people's hands. And that's what I'm selling, is the performing the art part of it, and not the tricks of it. Because the tricks you can go and get those. You can buy tricks. It's just not valuable. And that's like what you're talking about. The reason I built it that way is because that's what I saw in the market. I was like, well, I've been doing magic for years. I paid money for tricks, but usually for books. And it's a one-time purchase. And I know that if I wanted to, I wouldn't have to pay for those books. I do it because I want to support the art and support the artist, because I'm a magician myself. But most people aren't going to do that. Most people are going to say, how to do that weird trick. Go on Google for a couple of minutes. They'll figure it out and you'll be done. So I didn't want to be in that market. I wanted to be in the market of performance coach, teach them to get out there and perform the art, as well as weird ideological thing of trying to renew the wizarding arts.
Well, I think too that people who can perform in front of the public, when you do that, it changes you as a person. Whether that is giving a speech in public or performing magic or stand-up comedy or music, it changes you as a person, and it makes you less afraid. I think it was Owen Benjamin was talking about how he changed, why he did the stand-up comedy even when he didn't need to for a living.
That's funny you mentioned that. Owen Benjamin gave me a shout out on his
cool
show. Yeah,
awesome.
That's awesome.
That's really awesome.
I'm sorry, I derailed the conversation there.
No problem. But yeah. He talked I don't remember the details. It was one of the first videos I saw of him where he talked about it keeping him in the right mindset so that he wasn't afraid. Because if you can stand up to a couple hundred hecklers, which basically half the audience is, you can stand up to, especially, and then you can talk, and his comedy is not, totally PC, and it's not, he's not a protected
He's a comedian,
class.
He shouldn't be.
Exactly. He's not PC, he's not a protected class, he goes up there vulnerable and tells jokes. And now he's starting to become more famous, so more people in the audience will be there because they wanted to see him in particular. But a lot of times people are just there for something funny. And you got to stand up to that, and you got to adapt on the fly. And whenever you put yourself in these kind of high-stress situations, it changes you as a person. Your brain will adapt, and you become different in the way you think. So the first videos that I did, it would take me about 3 hours to do a half-hour video. With all the different takes I did.
Yeah.
And now I can stand and talk for quite a while. But I had previously given a few thousand public speeches.
Right.
And the camera was different than talking in front of people. When I'm in front of people, something about that interaction with their eyes, it woke me up.
It's a totally different thing. It's the difference between a YouTube comedian and a stand-up comedian. It's like, you have a YouTube comedian, go out and he will bomb so hard in front of a mic. Same thing with TV magicians. It's a totally different art form. Like preparing my tricks for this is so unnatural versus Yeah, versus me being able to misdirect you with my eyes and take your attention and make a joke over here so people's attention so I can ditch things in my pocket, like completely different art form. And what you're talking about, that's a lot of what I help people get through is it is, I won't sugarcoat it kind of thing where it does change you, but it is an extremely painful process. It's why most people don't do magic or comedy professionally is they go and they'll have one big experience where they like get in front of a large crowd of people, they will bomb, and you will always bomb. You're you will, if you do magic, you do stand-up comedy, there is going to be a time in your career where you bomb. It will happen, and that's you got to embrace it. For most people, that experience is so painful that they're done. They're like, nope, never doing that again. We're packing that one up. It's like, I did it for 25 people, screwed up the trick. Everyone thinks I'm an idiot now. I'm out of here. And usually it's not that painful. I have a friend at the Magic Castle. We were junior members together. The way we would get through it is we would look at each other every time before we'd go out on stage. He would go completely like fish-eyed, and he had this like slight Russian accent to it. And he'd go, "If I live, I live. If I die, I die." And then he would walk out on the stage. And that was like our thing. It was just like, well, no matter what happens, at least you didn't die. That was like you set the bar super low. But it really is that painful experience, because what you're talking about is it's, whether or not there's scientific backing to support it, who knows? It's an experience that every performer has that gets on stage. But there's something about getting into that state of, so magicians, and I don't know how deep you want to go into philosophy or magic theory, but comedians and magicians are essentially trying to create parachisms. A parachism is a subjective fantasy bubble. So we're creating essentially a pocket world where, for a comedian, I'm going to get you to see the world from a different perspective than you usually would, and then see how funny and weird. It's like, oh, aren't we silly? How aren't we dumb? But we still get through it. That's so cool. That's the comedian's approach. From a philosophical standpoint, if you think of Dostoevsky's wall, the wall of nature, a scientist tell us there is a wall and what it's made of. A pastor tells you what's on the other side of the wall and how to get there. Comedians tell you why we shouldn't be so sad about the wall, what's funny about the wall. And then a magician goes and finds the cracks in the walls and lifts the veil and says, see, look, there's weird, cool stuff over there. Isn't that creepy? And that's like the art form in a nutshell. So a magician is going and saying, let's bring you into a bubble and have you hallucinate things that aren't real in this subjective bubble of reality, and then we'll come back to objective reality. And that state, that creation of that world is totally different from any other art form. Some movies nail it. If you've ever been sucked into a movie, that's what's happening in your brain. The Lord of the Rings built a world, and it's done so well that your brain gets sucked into it and you're in that subjective world. You get the archetypes, and then you come back to real life and you've got a little bit of Frodo in you, and you've got a little Gandalf in you, whether you know it or not. And that's what's happening there. And you just don't get that with, hey guys, I'm going to do a magic trick now. Let me just look, see the card change. Isn't that cool? All right, bye. It's like,
well, there's a wonderful adaptation to a public audience.
It's an exchange. You're entering like a collective consciousness with the audience. It's weird to say it, but when you're on stage, you're having a conversation with like a collective individual, and you can feel it. You can feel when you're getting the tension of the audience. It pushes back on you. You can push back on it, and it's a really weird thing. It's I don't know.
Well, there's a reason, and it's interesting because it has a practical application off the stage as well. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why people who do any kind of a stage work, whether that be public speaking, whether that be magic, comedy, music, they are very attractive to other people. And I don't just mean like, yes, if you're a guy, you're going to get more girls attracted to you. There's that. But
there is.
In general, that's huge. But people in general will come up to you afterwards and want to talk to you. Yes, totally. Like if you are a waiter and you come through serving food, nobody cares. They're not going to look for you afterwards and try to talk to you. But if you give a speech, if you do some magic, people are going to want to come and talk to you.
Yep.
Because you when you're in front of those people, you are projecting power. For the moment, while you're doing the magic, you're the apex of that social hierarchy. You are the alpha in the room, and you can be in a room with people that are way more economically successful than you, bigger than you, stronger than you, smarter than you, but you're still the apex of that
Yep.
pyramid while you're in that room, because everyone's attention is on you and what you're doing. And it's a great example too of leading, because
Yes.
when you're doing magic, you are leading people through a process.
Yes.
And you're telling them a story and leading them through this, and you want them to get them somewhere. And
Yep.
now when you step off the stage, your ability to do that doesn't go away. Your ability to lead and your ability to take people through a process doesn't stop. And that's really, really powerful. And I think even if someone doesn't want to do magic for a living, they should still learn how to perform something in front of people and capture their attention. If we have, which we won't get into deeply here, but we have various ideas that we would like to spread out to the world that have nothing to do particularly with magic or with SMV coaching and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That we would like to see certain changes in behavior of the world and ideas that people have. How can we be persuasive to convince people of these things? How can we capture attention?
It's funny that you should say that, because that's literally, I might myself have a similar alternative motive. My newest act at the Magic Castle is essentially one giant persuasion for injecting people with the idea that are the magician's role in culture has always been, so there's the left and then the right brain. Jordan Peterson calls it chaos and order. I think Carl Jung nailed it a little bit better than that, but the unknown and the known. And whenever you go too far into mysticism, magicians were supposed to come and slap you back and go, hey, no, that's not, we can do what the fake psychics can do. And we're not talking to spirits. So be careful, okay? We're not talking to spirits, and we're doing the same things. Don't get too crazy now. But also our job was to, when we get too far into the logic and reasoning and objective and systems and taking away the purpose and meaning, we're supposed to come back and go, hey, you can't logic why a nuclear bomb is ethical or unethical. That's not true. And you know what? Why does the placebo effect work? Why can you, in weird circumstances that magicians can recreate whenever we want, have phenomenon occur in your mind and body that cannot happen in any other circumstance? We have no clue why that happens. That's not true. There is an unknown. And so we're supposed to balance them between the left and the right to go down the middle, which is the quote unquote Tao of Eastern tradition. That's a huge part of the art, and magicians have basically just given up on doing that correctly, because it's way easier and more profitable to learn how to do cool tricks and then say, I know everything, all magic is fake, and I know the tricks, and I'm smarter than you, and I'm better than you. And that's what most
I always laugh about that idea that magic is fake.
Yes, exactly.
It's like saying TV wrestling is fake. Well, we know it's fake. That's the whole.
Yes.
I mean, it's not a problem. Yes, I understand you didn't really make an elephant disappear.
Right.
Yeah, nobody thought you did.
It's like nobody thinks.
What I'm curious about is, how did you make it look like you made an elephant disappear?
Exactly.
That's what's amazing.
And that's the crazy part, is we don't know. We have no clue why your brain hallucinates that. It's this weird thing that has to do with your consciousness.
Exactly.
And it just happens.
And we have a lot of things like that in society. How exactly does the price mechanism of a market work? Yeah. Okay, we can tell you theories, but essentially the theories only outline the big box of it. How it works internally, we don't completely understand that. And honestly, we don't need to understand the details of it. We just need to know that it works and how to use it.
Exactly.
Now, I can go to the magic show and I don't need to know how all the tricks work. I just need to know that I'm going to get joy and pleasure out of watching them, and then I enjoy it.
Exactly.
And I participate by being an audience member. You don't need to know everything.
Yes. It's exactly. And that's the balancing of the left. It's why do you go to sleep every night, hallucinate for 8 hours, can write that information down, take that information, give it to someone else who can then go find a story that your dream is referencing that you've never read, that extracts meaning from your dream that came from your head that you didn't know, and tell that back to you?
No.
What? And what is the evolutionary advantage of that? This thing that takes up 85% of your calories and 90% of its space is built on making random symbolism like that has no evolutionary advantage.
Have you
Like,
ever heard of Wim Hof breathing? The Wim Hof breathing method. So short form is basically it's a breathing method to super oxygenate your body. It's great if you're then going to do something physical, or if you're going to go in the cold. So you can go in like freezing water and still feel warm. That's his big trick that he uses to, I don't know if it's a trick, but that's the big test he uses to show how effective it is. Well, one of the things that happens if you do certain of the exercises correctly, your brain will release hormones which cause you to hallucinate.
Wow, that's weird.
Yeah, you got to do it laying down, and it looks like you're being shot through the sky, stars, and you see a certain pattern of things. Everyone sees the same pattern roughly. We might interpret it slightly differently, but it doesn't matter if we're from the Amazon or from Europe or from Asia. It doesn't matter where you're from. That what I'm saying is it doesn't matter your cultural reference. This is something programmed right into us.
Yeah.
And what we see is a bunch of archetypical story stuff.
Yeah.
We see the tree and the snake and all that archetypical stuff.
Yeah.
And it's
creepy.
Yeah, it's somewhere. We don't know how that works. We don't
Not even close. We don't even have words to define what it might possibly be. That's how far we are from even touching it. Like, it's so crazy that literally the smartest person that may have been alive in recent history, Carl Jung, as a psychologist, was the last person who looked into it, and everyone's response was, yep, nope, we're just going to put that in this box over here and not touch that again. Go away. We're not talking about that. Like,
that's too weird. I don't want to know about it.
Because he was the one person who was smart enough to like try and approach a percentage of it, and even he's just like, what in the world is this? Because like he was terrified of discovering it. He hid it and didn't reveal it until Sigmund Freud died, because he didn't want to cause controversy with Sigmund Freud, who had grounded it in purely evolutionary science, his theories. And Carl Jung's like, but we can't do that because this doesn't make sense. It's not an ever receding sliver of reality we're talking about. This is we went to that spot and it opened up, and it's bigger than the thing that we thought was all of reality. And it just keeps getting bigger. And that was the Red Book is basically that whole, his whole experiment over a couple of years doing that, of entering into that world through symbolism, through active imagination. Basically, he does what magicians do, generate parachisms and creating an active world in his imagination for himself. And then he can summon archetypes and interact with those archetypes and speak with them, ask them what their meaning is and whatnot. That's what a magician allows you to do. So like during my show, I will go and get people into that state. Once I've got them deep enough into the show, I will go and create suggestions like, hey guys, I want you to, if you see shadows moving around on the walls, if you feel taps on your shoulder, if you see the room get darker or lighter, you feel warmth and cold, weird things will start to happen. You'll feel, there's typically strange sensations with your electronics. You'll notice that there are photos that weren't there. Your battery will drain. I give that suggestion to introduce this world that I've created for them, and those things will manifest because I've injected that idea into their head in this subjective bubble. And so like people will go and report like, I saw like a ghost standing right over you while you're doing the card trick, or I saw shadows moving around, or somebody tapped me on my shoulder, and people will come and say that during the show. And is that real? I don't know. It's like it happened for them in that world, in that bubble, and we brought it back to objective bubble. You definitely couldn't put that in a beaker. You definitely couldn't study that. You couldn't videotape it, but people, or
well, and to some degree, the question of is it real or not is not completely relevant, because they will act as if it's real. And this happens. Exactly. This happens in the real, like in daily life. A lot of people, they act as if certain things that they believe are real, even though we can objectively prove those things aren't true. They will still act as if it's real. And so we need to understand how people think and how they behave and how they react to. The propaganda is extremely powerful. It's interesting that you work with magic and you work with marketing.
Yep.
So there's a
Totally.
huge
Those two
crossover.
tend to go over. Yes, exactly. Yeah, they're very related.
And you know, I've had people say, well, you know, you should just resist the marketing and propaganda. And it's like, okay, I have a high level of agency. I can do that to a certain extent.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people, they don't have sufficient agency to most of the time resist that marketing and propaganda. Now, you turn your TV off, you avoid it as much as possible. That's why you don't want children to watch too much TV, to be online too much, is because it will change how they perceive the world. It'll reprogram them. And we have to take real active steps, we have to take real active steps to reprogram our own minds if we've been taken in by some propaganda that's hurting us, you know, whatever that happens to be. And to reprogram our own minds is very similar to what the magician does. You know, we have to, I joke that it's casting a spell. I joke that we're casting a spell. By repeating a mantra over and over again, you're kind of casting a spell.
No, that literally is like the scientific method, wizard philosophy method of, that's what we call it. So like if you want to curse, you can curse or bless someone. It's cascading confirmation bias, and we attach it to a subjective experience. So if I go up to you and be like, isn't it weird that there's a lot of red in your room? Have you ever noticed that there's like a lot of red? It's just a weird thing. Most people don't notice it, but they put red. And what's cool is when you see red, it actually makes you feel more powerful, more confident, more effective, and you'll be able to go and take out your problems more just by having a little bit more red in your room. And
that confirmation bias is so powerful. When you buy a new car and you start driving around and you're like, man, so many people have the same car as me in the same color. You've never seen it before, but suddenly I bought the car no one had, and suddenly everyone's got it, and everywhere you're seeing it.
Exactly. And then you go up and you attach, and people who have that car are cool, or people who have that car are lame. And then it's stuck onto you, and that's a curse. Or a blessing,
exactly.
You know? And that's literally it. And like wizard coaching, mystic advisor, the Merlin, Oracle, the people from Greek, what were they called? The you know, everything throughout human culture. That's been our role, is to go and negotiate with, like, okay, that's your perspective on this situation right now. Have you looked at it from this perspective? What about this way? What about that way? I'm not saying I know the answer or if I'm right or wrong. I'm just saying, what are different ways we could look at this problem? And because the philosophy at the core of the wizard philosophy is essentially existential pragmatism. We can't know what the real world is, but we can figure out what is predictive. And what is predictive and makes you happy and helps you get closer to your goals is the filters we want to view the world through. And there's a bunch of different ways to do that. So maybe an effective filter could be the secular view, or maybe an effective filter could be a religious view, or maybe the effective filter could be a positive view or a negative view or a pragmatic view. And you can go and filter through different philosophies of the problem, different slices of the same. If the elephant, the metaphorical elephant that people are touching different parts of reality, the wizard's just cycling through all the different ones for you and saying, have you looked at the tail? Have you looked at the foot? Have you looked at the nose? Have you looked at the side? And that's our job, is to help people unprogram themselves. And then the archetype of an evil wizard is people who do that for they're trying to manipulate the will of people towards the wrong way. And that's dangerous because you don't know what's best for someone. Rule number one is a wizard never tells anyone what to do. You can't tell people what to do. It's not allowed. You're not allowed to tell people what to do. You can just show them different perspectives of what they see. And if you do, then you're being a bad person. You're not good in our art, and you're following.
Well, we can see that with the news media now.
Yeah.
It starts off with a prescription. Big orange man evil.
Yes, exactly.
And then once they've told you what to believe, they will have a bunch of key magic words where they're telling you, think of the children, poor people, and somebody is angry and evil, and they'll set up a real archetypical play on your mind in like 3 paragraphs. Then they'll have 10 paragraphs of fluff, and at the bottom they'll say, but actually everything we said above was not true. Just to cover their asses. Everything we said above was not true. It's all speculation, and it turned out that it's completely a different story. But most people read the headline. A few people will read those initial paragraphs that set an even deeper tone. And very few people skip to the last 5 paragraphs and read what the actual content of the article is.
Yep. And that's actually our fault, digital marketers. That is an industry that basically the profit model was switched to, rather than driving value to the reader, the value now goes to the advertiser. So a digital marketer is typically paid based on the amount of clicks that they can generate, not the value of the content itself or the engagement rate. And Google's trying to fix that, because it's literally why we started spiraling into using digital marketing techniques on race and ethnicity, and basically trying to scare people into thinking that there's actually large amounts of people out there that are really in the KKK and really white supremacists.
There's
and
Nazis
also,
under every bed.
Yes, exactly. And it's literally like maybe 100 people. They all live in Kentucky, and they're all cousins, and they don't have access to a computer, and they don't have teeth. It's like, that's them.
Yeah,
they're over there.
And the ones you see on the news are probably government plants, and like it.
Yeah, or not even that. It's literally like, if you read the book "Trust Me, I'm Lying" by Ryan Holiday, he's a marketer. They literally create fake stories. Like, one of his most successful campaigns is he went to the I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell movie. He was the marketer for that. So he went and spray painted "God Hates Fags" on his own billboard, and then took a picture of it and posted it online to get publicity for his show. So it's a very common marketing technique that people do.
Well, that's why you see all those poorly drawn swastikas.
Exactly. Yes. And on the other end, if I'm targeting right wing, I can go and say, like, the government's coming to take your guns, and Antifa is a crazy domestic terrorist group that's they're everywhere, man, and they're bombing. It's like, no, they're a bunch of idiot college students that got shut down by the FBI in like a matter of minutes. That they are real, they are a group, but they're just a bunch of idiot like vegans.
Well, they're almost all in Portland or Austin.
Exactly. I mean, I'm in LA. I'm in UCI is like a hub for them, and it's like they're real, but they're not something that I'm worried about ever. Like, it's how many vegans does it take to take down one right-wing person with a gun? It's like, it's a fun game to play. It's not a real
first one up and use them as a weapon to beat the others.
Yeah, exactly. But that whole concept, that whole cloud, was created by the digital marketing shift from clicks versus content, and that's about to break, because the AI bubble bursted recently, which was this whole theory that we can give you discounted ad rates on digital marketing because that money is going to allow us to create an AI that will essentially let us predict the future. And if we could do that, that's infinite money. So we're willing to subsidize your ad rates for the cost of your data. And that's what when you partner with a digital marketing, you're giving them your data as well. They just found out that doesn't work because of this consciousness thing. We can't account for it. Yeah, it's like almost like Dostoevsky predicted it, like what, 75, 100 years ago, where he's like, even if you could predict every single thing about a human, the human would just burn the whole system down just to prove that he could. Like, that's what we're finding out. It's like, oh, you can't predict the future, even though you want to. And Google, you're seeing a cult arise. That's this religion of, they're trying to create a god. Their AI is their god. They have their religion. You keep kosher by following vegan. There's the protected class. There's the good people, and then there's the unforgivable original sin. That's fill in your blank about racism, or it's this group, or sexism, or unconscious bias. Fill it, whatever you want to call it. That's all in there, and they're creating a cult to worship this AI god that they just found out isn't going to happen. And so when a cult burst, which is what's happening right now, you would think everyone would go, oh, okay, well, move on to the next thing. That's not what happens. 80 to 90% of people will stay in the cult and continue to believe the cult and run it into a Jim Jones kind of scenario. In this case, it's a business. So let's pray that Jim Jones scenario is they go out of business or have massive financial losses or have monetary impacts, not physical impacts. But
so you're saying if I was working at a certain large search engine company and they started to suddenly serve Kool-Aid, that I shouldn't drink it.
Exactly. That is exactly what I am saying.
Especially if all employees were encouraged to drink it at the same time.
And if you're in the target evil class, that might be a go start your own right-wing version of them. Take all your information, and it doesn't have to be right-wing, but for this particular scenario, to kill that particular cult, that might be the ideology to go with. I would recommend I would whimsically hope that you would just do a actual free market of ideas like Google started with when they were run by libertarians and stopped being run by libertarians. But my fear is that that's not enough, because that will get the poison will still poison that. And so like maybe you have to have a bias just to swing it away. But I would recommend go and start your own, because there's a huge market for that right now. People are always freaking out about like, it's the tech companies, they're taking over the world. It's like, dude, that's $1 billion opportunity. Go start.
Well, it's like
Facebook
people
that doesn't censor your jokes and memes.
People are freaking out over Facebook, and the reality is it's just a couple of years ago there was MySpace. Look what happened to that, and there was GeoCities, I think, before that, and I think there's 2 or 3 before GeoCities, or after GeoCities and before MySpace. But this is a cycle. Yeah, you grow to a certain point, and then very often your organization gets taken over by people who are no longer concerned about serving the client. They have some ulterior motive, and they get control of the power and money that's there. They're attracted like flies to it, and then they crash your company. And in fact, if you are thinking about starting a company and you want that company to last for a long time, that's things you have to think about early on. It doesn't just happen to companies with thousands of employees. I've seen small organizations, nonprofits even, getting completely co-opted by a group of people come in. And, you know, maybe the leader, the original leader, he gets to an age where he wants to step back a bit. And I told someone that ran a nonprofit once, I said, I really like what you're doing. I think this is one of the few nonprofits that actually is making the world better. Yeah. But you know that as soon as you grow, because they had big growth expectations, as soon as you grow, you're going to get infiltrated and you will be co-opted by people who have unappealing political ideas for you. And they will take over and they will ruin your entire organization. They'll push out everyone who doesn't think like them, and then you'll collapse. And they didn't believe me, and I'm seeing it. It's about 25-30% of the way that they're already. And
it's terrible.
It's sad. It ruins the best organizations. Doesn't matter how strong they are. It's you know, the best constitution ever made in the history of humanity, the U.S. Constitution, protected the U.S. for quite a while. That, combined with the American spirit of independence and general dislike for government, protected the American people up until about the Civil War. And then that was enough of a break of the Constitution, because Civil War was a lot about breaking the Constitution. And after that, it was just a downhill slide. And it's, you know, if we do this again, we got to do it even better. And to some degree, we've been doing that throughout history. Magna Carta lasted a long time and kept a lot of people free. Those concepts, the attitude of people who fought for their own freedom, eventually that stopped working, and we came up with a better thing, and we'll keep doing that.
And it's like, in the end, it's like the idea, it's not marketing. Like, okay, I mean, it obviously depends on what your religious predilections are, but the most successful marketing campaign of all time was a content marketing campaign created by Jesus. It's called the Bible. And it's literally the most effective marketing campaign ever. And it's a content marketing campaign. That's exactly what he wrote a book. He wrote a book and he spread it. And it's the best-selling book, and it's been the best-selling book for forever. There's never been a better selling book. So does that mean marketing's wrong? Like, I mean, if it was good enough for who we've considered in Western society to be the greatest being to ever live by definition, then maybe it's not marketing's fault. Maybe you can use the tools of marketing for good and for bad.
Well, we have to remember that the bad wizards, and I'm using this terminology, the bad wizards want us to give up on the idea of using marketing Because then
Exactly.
they're the only ones that have that power.
A good marketer, a good wizard, if you will, but a good marketer is supposed to be the lubrication for the free market. I'm your servant. I am saying it's the ultimate thing. Everyone hates marketers, but it's like, dude, like our job is to say, how can I find the absolute best thing for you specifically? I'm going to put my money on the line to pay for information to make your life better. And then I'm going to invest tons of money in getting that message in front of you so that you can know what the absolute best product is at the best price for you, given your scenario and your needs and your wants. Like, that's my job. My job, and even with me doing it at the best, 2% of people say yes.
Yeah.
It's not that effective. It really isn't as effective as we'd like people to believe.
Well, we've convinced,
Yeah.
it's not we, I'm not including myself in this, but society has spent trillions of dollars propagandizing women that they'll be more happy if they don't have kids, but instead go to work. Whereas every study that's done about it says that stay-at-home moms with multiple, the more children they have, the happier they are. And those are the women with real satisfaction in life. And then if you follow that up in their 80s, the difference is enormous.
Yeah.
You know, they live longer. Women that live longer for each child they have.
Yeah.
They're happier. You know, they've spent trillions of dollars convincing them that the way of nature is wrong and they should go try something else. They're now spending trillions again trying to convince men to be women or to completely give up on society and just go their own way. And this is it is powerful when you're going to spend an unlimited pot of money on it.
Unlimited pot of money, and you're not trying to change the majority. You're trying to change a small minority that's going to buy votes. It's much easier to get someone who's depressed, sad, and depraved and had their religion stolen from them, their purpose in life destroyed. It's literally how you create cult members. You find the people who are weak, depressed, anxious, and looking for a cause, and then you give them one. And people will take any cause that you can give them in those scenarios. They'll take Scientology. They'll take Jim Jones. They'll take SJW, philosophy, AI, God. They will take whatever cult that you give them, regardless of how absurd it is. And that's what's so sickening about it, is it's really just for this benign purpose of votes. It's just like to get the voter block. Let's get the voter block.
Well, I always, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, it's fine.
I always say that, the truth is enough of an argument. And the problem is getting the truth out to people. And the truth itself is the greatest argument, but if no one hears it, it has no power. The truth only has power when people hear it.
Well, that's why they're trying to shut down people for just saying true things.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Owen Benjamin's a perfect example. He's been shut down from every single social media platform that exists because he said you shouldn't poison 3-year-old children with hormone blockers if they say that they're girls.
Yeah.
Like what? Like, is there anybody in the world that's like on board with poisoning children? Like, what if we just change the chemical to meth? Is it okay to give 3-year-olds meth? Oh, it's not. Why? Oh, because they're a 3-year-old. You think that might mess up their brain? That's literally all he said. It wasn't a political statement. It wasn't, you're a horrible person. It was just like, I think his whole statement was just, I don't think it's right to give 3-year-olds hormone blockers. And he's shut down for that. It's a true statement. It's like, I play video games and I stream League of Legends to market my Magic lessons because people who want to learn Magic play League of Legends. And I will open, just for fun, every session. I've had like 3 accounts banned so far doing this. Is just, Trump is our president. There are only 2 genders. Good luck, have fun. Post into all chat. There's nothing controversial about any of those statements. Those are 2 just facts. Those are not, there's no political agenda to it. I'm not saying Trump is a good president. I'm not saying Trump's a bad president. I'm not saying that Trump has done anything right or anything wrong. I am just stating the unambiguous fact that he is our president. That's it. That's all I'm saying. And there are only 2 genders. That's a scientific fact. It's a biologically accepted fact. There's nothing controversial about those two topics. But I get my account shut down. Why do my accounts get shut down for saying that? That's scary. That's weird. And when that's the war that we're in, is they're fighting against the truth. And our job, as whether you guys want to, you the audience, want to embrace marketing or not, us wizards are. And we're infiltrating on the other side, and we're winning. And arguably we've won. And so keep it up. Keep spreading those memes. And like, it's more powerful than you think. You know, PewDiePie, the guy who made Minecraft, these people are important in this cultural war in ways that you wouldn't possibly imagine. And the next generation that's coming is going to show you that. Even to the point where it's archetypically persuasive. It's highly valuable. Minecraft is a great example. It teaches you make your own story. Go out there, build something, make something of value, and make your own fun. Not, here is the story, here is the truth, follow what it is. That's a totally different narrative. And Minecraft is the most popular video game like ever. Ever.
And group play in Minecraft is important, because the reality is most people can't negotiate. And so in real life, the reason they don't punch people is because they'll get punched back. Okay, there's a definite physical component to it. So in Minecraft, the reason you don't punch is because your goals to create things will be thwarted if you're doing too much P versus P. You'll have to ally with somebody. And kids start understanding and how to negotiate. How do you negotiate truce? How do you negotiate, okay, I want to build my house here. Well, that's right on top of where I'm building. It's going to be, I'm going to dig an enormous hole to the center of the earth right behind your house. You know, you just can't do that. And so there's a development of social norms. They practice all of that. That's what kids used to go to the forest in a group and build houses and shacks and stuff. Now they're doing it digitally.
And that concept is infused into with so many assumptions about the way the world is and it works and truth. And it doesn't seem like it. And you're wondering, why are my kids so obsessed with these things? Because it's the only source that they're finding it anymore. The Minecraft game, it's like, it's so, it's something that they're not getting anywhere else in society. And that's why they're latching on to video games and whatnot. And there's good and bad in that, because in one way it's good because people are going to video games because they're not getting, especially young men, because they're not getting an outlet for anywhere else. And the companies are profiting off of that. That's their model. But of all the things that could be bad about that, profiting off of giving them an outlet isn't the worst thing. What is scary is that, and that's the whole Gamergate scandal. It was basically like an unconscious pushback on this is the last straw. Like, you killed Star Wars, dude. That was our religion. You killed Star Wars. You've taken all our other things. Leave our video games alone. Let us have fun. If it's an attractive girl in a castle that I'm going to go and kill a dragon to save, it's an attractive girl in a castle, and I'm going to go kill a dragon. I'm going to go save her.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. I don't care if I'm an Italian plumber. I'm going to do it. Well, why isn't the Italian plumber black? It's like, screw you. I don't give a crap. It's because it's not Mario. Mario isn't black. He's an Italian plumber. He's Italian. I'm not worried about your race bullshit because I don't care about your religion. I don't care about your BS politics. That's not why I'm playing this game. I'm playing this game because I want to go save the princess because it's ingrained in me over 300 million years of evolution. That's why
there's a lot of condescension towards young people. And you'll see that in some movies where, for example, they have a movie set 500 years ago in England, and it's full of Asians and Africans and other people, and women are women's position is the same as it is today in modern society. And it's like, young people are not stupid. They know that the past was not exactly like the present. They can watch a movie with historical accuracy, and they can see things that they understand shouldn't be happening maybe in modern times. And they can look and they can see that, and they're not going to freak out about it. In fact, they'll enjoy the honesty of the depiction. And it's ridiculous how much they think that we need to have our hands held, and especially even young people.
And it's
Young
backfiring.
people are a lot more woke. Yeah, it's backfiring.
It's backfiring hard. Like my little brother was telling me about it in his game. He plays a game called Battlefield. And I guess they just released a new update where it's like you can play as a black female Nazi. And like on the Nazi party.
We was Nazis.
Yes. And what's happened is the reaction has been actually video game genocide. It's crazy. The people get together and are targeting those characters specifically and kill them even if they're on their own team. So it's like, is this the message you're trying to get people to do?
Yeah.
Is to target the group? Because that's not how you do it. Like,
no.
And it's not like it's not been around. We've had strong female characters in movies for forever, and strong minorities. Men in Black, the main character is Will Smith. Yep. We've had strong female characters in Lord of the Rings. We had them in Star Wars. It's not something
forced.
It's people that are in the right archetypes. They have to follow the right archetype or they will fail. And if you try to force them into something that's wrong, then you suck at telling stories and you'll fail.
The difference has been that if you're a storyteller, your primary objective is to tell stories and is to entertain your audience, and you may teach a lesson out of that as well. But if your objective is to whack them over the head with a club of your beliefs, and then just make it possible for them to show up by making it a story, people will get upset with that. And I think a lot of there is, with video games, the good thing is you can create a video game with a very low budget.
Yes.
Minecraft was created with a fairly low budget.
Yeah, I think it was like one guy, one dude put it all together.
He did almost all of it himself. And in fact, people are saying that when he left, since then it really hasn't changed any. And if the modern game might have a few more characters, and that's about it. Yeah. So you can now enter into the sphere that used to be dominated by certain powerful groups that didn't just have money, but they had a machine, a corporate machine set up to produce these things. And now you can do it yourself. And if you do it, then you get money. Then you can do a bigger one, and then a bigger one. And there are games being put out now. People are trying to be as bombastic as possible. They're trying to be, so you wanted to completely diversify my game? I'm going to create a video game where I kill all of the diversified people.
That's exactly right. I've been trying to get my little brothers to jump on that. I say, if you're artistic, if you're able to develop games, make movies, make cartoons, any artistic pursuit, get a day job first and don't tell anyone about it. Make money from somewhere else and then just start churning out the art, and make sure that the art that you're churning out is the opposite of everything you see people hating, because you have a target market that is desperately hungry for your ideas of a cartoon like VeggieTales. Go freaking watch VeggieTales, man. Like, they took all the best stories and they told them with animated cute cartoons. That thing made millions of dollars. It's affected so many people's lives. And the technology to do what they did with VeggieTales is probably available for free on the internet right now. You could make a version of that right now in a couple of weeks. Make your own first episode. If you're artistically inclined, it's all out there, and there's people that are desperate for it. Like, people support, even if it's lower quality, just because it's not bullshit.
I had a kid I was coaching, and he wanted to take. His parents are wealthy, so money really wasn't the issue. But he wanted to take was it movie design, movie filmography, something like this. Yeah. And he wanted to take it in a school in the U.S., and it would have been like $150,000 US, and taken him 3 or 4 years to take the schooling. And I think it was 5 years actually. He wanted to take a master's degree in it. So I said to him, well, why don't you take $50,000 and 2 years and go make a movie?
Yes, exactly.
Or that logic and make 10 different movies. Make a series.
Yes. That logic there is so powerful right now. Don't waste your money on college. Don't go start a farmer's market stand. Unless you're going to be an accountant, or you're going to become a doctor, or you're going to become a lawyer, unless you have a very definitive career path that's guaranteed for $250,000 a year job, don't go there.
And even then, you want to become a lawyer?
Yeah.
Don't go to school until you've already secured a job at a law firm. You go to a law firm. I mean, if you don't have family connections, forget it. Do something else.
Yeah.
You know,
it's one of those things where it's just like, the education I got from starting a lawn care company was more valuable than every single year of education that I've spent combined in probably the first month. It's really that little of value from the education system. There's nothing there. It's no value. I can't think of a single thing that I got from my education system that I've actually applied in real life. It's
I knew a private school that you had to do a special project between your 11th and 12th year. You had the whole 2 years to do it. And the project was you had to start a company. Cool. Later on, they allowed them to start nonprofits as well, but it was better when they had to start a company. Yeah. And the only requirement was that they turn a legitimate profit to pass. That was your pass fail. Legitimate profit was your pass fail. Anything over that was maybe you could get a higher grade. And they wanted to see if you failed, did you understand why you failed?
Did you get money to start it? How did you how is that? Or is it just from zero?
You had to figure it all out yourself. You had 2 years to do it.
So crazy.
And sometimes you had to get real serious and go, man, I'm just going to have to cut lawns because I have nothing to invest. And kids would do, if you don't have to make a living and you just have to make more $1 than you spent, it's not super hard to do that.
No,
to live on it's different. But just making them do that, and they could work in teams too. So just making them do that was huge. I absolutely love that project. It was for all the kids. They were taking a international bachelorette of business or something, but that school made that specific rule in that.
That's so powerful.
It was wonderful. That should actually be a part of. I don't think there's a necessity to have any kind of an education of mandatory education past 16 years old, because you're going to learn more at that point working. But if there is something, it should include a requirement that you participate in the market, preferably.
I think that you shouldn't be allowed to go into college until you've spent a year with a farmer's market stand. You need to take $5,000 of that $60,000 of debt that you're planning to go into. You need to take $5,000 of it and try and start a business. And see and learn and educate yourself, and
fail, because that's perfectly fine.
Oh yeah, you're going to fail.
As long as you know why.
That's the whole point, is to go and fail repeatedly in a low risk environment where you can go and spend $500, fail, and still have $4,500 to try it again, and then try it again, and then try it again, and keep doing that until you're like, oh yeah, I got a lemonade stand going. It's kicking butt. Woo! Like it sounds like, oh, it's a lemonade stand. It's like, no. If you're going to make it work and you're competing with all those other people, there's someone else that wants that spot. It's really important. It's really valuable.
And on that note, I think we're going to wrap up.
Totally.
I urge you, if you need help with marketing or magic, contact Tyler. Tyler's your digital marketing guy. And you were talking about relatively small amounts of money to test your business ideas. If you have something that you think would be a great business, before you invest tens of thousands of dollars into starting a business, talk to Tyler, find out what's going to work, what's not going to work. Not only that, he has a wealth of knowledge and information. Make sure you pay him for his time. And if you're looking for love, life, and relationship coaching, contact me. The real magic happens when you get that one-on-one coaching. There is nothing better than that for jump-starting your way in the world and your future life. Thank you for watching, everyone. Goodbye.
Totally.